Countries that divided, an analysis of historical separations. The division of countries is a recurring theme in world history, often triggered by ideological, ethnic, religious, and geopolitical factors. These divisions reshape political landscapes, sometimes fostering peace and stability, but more often resulting in conflict and human suffering. Below is a detailed exploration of major historical examples of countries that divided, the causes behind these divisions, and their long-term consequences. 1. India and Pakistan 1947. The partition of British India in 1947 stands as one of the most significant events in modern history. As the British prepared to leave after nearly 200 years of colonial rule, tensions between Hindus and Muslims led to demands for separate states. The Indian subcontinent was divided into two countries, India, with a Hindu majority, and Pakistan, created as a Muslim homeland. Causes of division: religious differences, deep-rooted mistrust between Hindus and Muslims. Colonial policies: British policies, such as the divide and rule strategy, exacerbated communal tensions. Political movements: the Muslim League, under Muhammad Ali Jinnah, advocated for a separate state for Muslims, opposing the Indian National Congress's vision of a united India. Consequences: mass migration. Approximately 14 million people migrated across newly drawn borders, making it one of the largest migrations in history. Violence. Communal riots led to the deaths of an estimated 1 to 2 million people. Enduring conflict. The division left unresolved issues, such as the Kashmir dispute, leading to several wars and ongoing tensions between the two nations. 2. Korea 1945–1953. The division of Korea into North and South Korea resulted from the Cold War rivalry between the Soviet Union and the United States. After Japan's surrender in World War II, Korea was divided along the 38th parallel, with the North under Soviet influence and the South under U.S. control. This division became permanent after the Korean War 1950–1953. Causes of division: geopolitical rivalry. The Soviet Union and the U.S. sought to expand their ideological influence in East Asia. Ideological differences: the North adopted a communist system, while the South became a capitalist democracy. Consequences: Korean War. The war resulted in millions of deaths and extensive destruction. Permanent division. The Korean peninsula remains divided, with a heavily militarized border, the Demilitarized Zone, or DMZ, separating the two nations. Global tensions. North Korea's nuclear ambitions continue to pose a threat to regional and global stability. 3. Germany 1949–1990. Germany was divided into East and West Germany after World War II. The division reflected the larger ideological conflict between the capitalist West and the communist East during the Cold War. West Germany was aligned with the US and its allies, while East Germany became a Soviet satellite state. Causes of division: post-war settlement. Germany's defeat in World War II led to its occupation by Allied forces. Cold War rivalry. The ideological divide between capitalism and communism dictated the partition. Consequences: Berlin Wall. Erected in 1961, the wall became a symbol of the Cold War, separating families and restricting movement. Reunification. The fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989 marked the beginning of Germany's reunification, completed in 1990. Economic disparities. Despite reunification, economic and social disparities between the former East and West persist. 4. Sudan and South Sudan 2011. Sudan was one of Africa's largest countries until its division in 2011. Decades of civil war, driven by ethnic, religious, and economic disparities, culminated in South Sudan's independence. The North was predominantly Arab and Muslim, while the South had a majority of African ethnic groups practicing Christianity and indigenous religions. Causes of division: ethnic and religious differences, long-standing cultural and religious divides. Economic inequality. Control over oil resources created tensions between the North and the South. Civil wars. Two prolonged civil wars 1955–1972 and 1983–2005 devastated the region and made unity untenable. Consequences: new nation. South Sudan became the world's youngest country in 2011. Continued conflict. South Sudan faced internal strife and a civil war that began in 2013, leading to a humanitarian crisis. Economic challenges. both countries have struggled with poverty and underdevelopment post-separation. 5. Yugoslavia 1991–2008. The breakup of Yugoslavia in the 1990s was a violent and complex process driven by ethnic nationalism and the weakening of communist rule. The country disintegrated into 7 independent states: Slovenia, Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Serbia, Montenegro, North Macedonia, and Kosovo, though Kosovo's independence is disputed. Causes of division: ethnic and religious diversity. Yugoslavia was home to numerous ethnic groups, including Serbs, Croats, Bosniaks, and Slovenes, with differing religions and languages. Collapse of communism. The end of communist rule in Eastern Europe weakened Yugoslavia's unity. Economic inequality. Wealthier regions like Slovenia resented subsidizing poorer areas. Consequences. Wars and genocide. The Yugoslav Wars 1991–2001 led to massive casualties, ethnic cleansing, and war crimes, including the genocide in Srebrenica. Fragmentation. The Balkans remain politically and economically fragmented, with unresolved ethnic tensions. 6. Czechoslovakia 1993. Unlike many other divisions, the split of Czechoslovakia into the Czech Republic and Slovakia was peaceful, earning the name the Velvet Divorce. The separation occurred due to political and economic differences between the two regions. Causes of division. Economic differences. The Czech lands were more industrialized and prosperous than Slovakia. Political movements. Growing nationalism in Slovakia and differing visions for the country's future. Consequences. Peaceful transition. The split was amicable, with no violence or international intervention. Separate paths. Both nations have pursued independent political and economic policies, with the Czech Republic often seen as more economically advanced. 7. Palestine and Israel 1948. The division of Palestine to establish the State of Israel in 1948 remains one of the most contentious issues in global politics. The United Nations proposed a partition plan, but it was rejected by Arab nations, leading to conflict. Causes of division. Zionist movement. Jewish immigration to Palestine increased during the early 20th century, driven by persecution in Europe and aspirations for a homeland. Colonial legacy. British control of Palestine and the subsequent UN partition plan. Religious significance. The region's importance to Jews, Muslims, and Christians heightened tensions. Consequences. Ongoing conflict. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict has resulted in numerous wars, displacement of Palestinians, and ongoing disputes over borders and sovereignty. Geopolitical struggles. The division has far-reaching implications for Middle Eastern politics and international relations. 8. Vietnam 1954–1975. Vietnam was temporarily divided into North and South Vietnam after the First Indochina War, with the North adopting communism under Ho Chi Minh and the South aligning with the US and its allies. This division led to the Vietnam War. Causes of division. Colonial legacy. French colonial rule and subsequent conflicts over independence. Cold War rivalry. The division reflected the global struggle between communism and capitalism. Consequences. Vietnam War. A prolonged and devastating conflict that ended with the reunification of Vietnam under communist rule in 1975. Human cost. Millions of lives lost, widespread destruction, and long-term social and economic challenges. Conclusion. The division of countries is often a response to irreconcilable differences, whether ideological, ethnic, or economic. While some separations, like Czechoslovakia, have been peaceful, others, such as Yugoslavia and Sudan, have been marked by violence and suffering. These divisions highlight the complexities of nationhood and the challenges of balancing unity with diversity. As history shows, the repercussions of these separations often last for decades, shaping the political and social landscapes of the regions involved. If you liked our informative videos, please subscribe my channel Time Crest.